Recently, I came across an alarming statistic. 64% of people would like a better relationship with their boss. Think about it. We're going to explore that a little bit today and how you can improve the relationship with your boss. Stay tuned. Now, when it comes to our relationship with our boss, there are lots of different problems, but today I want to offer you 4 simple insights, ways that you can improve the relationship with your boss. Why? Because let's face it, we spend so much time at work, we might as well make that critical relationship as good as it possibly can be. Stay tuned to the end of the video because today I want to offer you as well the possibility of signing up for a free e-course which looks at emotional intelligence roadmap, gives you a roadmap of how you can plot out the course and deepen your emotional intelligence. When it comes to improving the relationship with our boss, I want to explore 4 different suggestions that you might find helpful. So point number 1, communication. So when it comes to the workplace, let's face it, I believe one of the ways of describing it is a set of different conversations we have each and every day. Conversation is at the core of our work life. And therefore, our communication with our boss is incredibly important for us to take some time and to assess. Now, I want to offer you maybe 2 insights into this communication process, or 2 ways perhaps that you might want to think about how you go about looking, listening, and describing that communication process. The first area is general. So there are different ways that we can describe a person's communication style generally. You know, some people, first of all, are very dominant in their communication style. The way that they communicate is very forceful. They like to get things done. Their pace tends to be very quick. They tend to want to resolve problems, etc. So very often what we want to look at is that the way this person is acting? Or there are some people who as well are very quick-paced in their communication, are much more social. And so therefore the communication process is about bringing people on board, about having fun and enthusiasm. They're much better big picture thinkers, and they're really all about adding energy into the group. A third group of people are much more steady in their communication. They tend to not to be as outgoing as perhaps others, but they tend to really be concerned about how other people are feeling, how other people are acting in this moment. Their communication style tends to be very collaborative. They tend to want to listen and to hear from other people. And they tend to make decisions after consulting. And then the final, perhaps, communication style that we might want to consider are those that are really find data important. And so therefore, it's all about making correct decisions. It's about getting enough data that I can make a correct decision. And so therefore, detail becomes very important. So there you have it. In general, you know, we can describe, where is my boss in this? Are they very active? Do they want to get things done? Are they more social and they like to involve people? Or are they much more team-oriented and consensus building? Or are they really fixed by data and they need information? This can be really helpful for us when it comes to learning how to communicate. Now, the second element of communication is this. So we've gone from the general, and then we're going to go to the particular. And so what I mean by that is that some of us have preferences about how we want to communicate. So some people like a phone call, other people prefer an email. Some people like to be approached at the beginning of the day, others later on. Some people do not mind surprise visits, other people hate surprise visits. Some people want the executive summary, a few lines, other people want all the details laid out. Those are critical things that will help you in your communication with the boss. So point number 1 is communication. Generally, how do they communicate? And in particular, what are they looking for? Second element when it comes to improving our communication with their boss is this: Be a person who brings solutions and not problems. The workspace is full of problems. And in many ways, part of work is about answering and creating solutions for those problems. But if we stop just at there's a problem and don't even investigate it a little bit more, then I think first of all, we are doing ourselves a disservice in that we are not tapping into our own innate creativity. And then also we are providing the boss as well with less options. So I always encourage people that whenever we have a problem, that we also bring at least the thought of one solution. Now, the solution doesn't have to be something that we can do. It may be a bigger solution that we have to call other people upon. But I think it creates a great energy. I know, having been a boss in the past, when I have an employee who comes to me and says, you know what, we have a problem. And those are sinking feelings, those words, we have a problem. Because all of a sudden the energy is like, oh. But then if that person says to me, but I think I found a solution, then all of a sudden the energy rises again. Be that person. Be the person that not just brings the problem, but also brings a potential solution. Point number 3, when it comes to improving the relationship with our boss, I like to say, show initiative. You know, if we are always waiting and being told what to do, that creates an extra burden on our boss. Now, there are certain jobs when we're new, etc. There's a period when that's just going to be the reality. But I'm always curious if a person can show initiative, to take the initiative to do something. Even if they get it wrong, I can always appreciate the fact that they are striving to do a little bit more. So often the beginning of great leaders and managers who are going to do an outstanding job is really felt in this point, that they are ones who go the extra mile, who show a little bit of initiative, who take on something they were not asked to do, but know that it is part of the bigger problem and part of the bigger solution. So try and show initiative where you can, because it'll be greatly appreciated. And number 4 is, rather than something a do, it's actually a don't. So point number 4 is, don't have your boss have to mediate. You know, there's nothing worse for a boss than being dragged into a problem between 2 employees. Why? Because it's making that boss have to insert themselves and to come between 2 people. You know, it's much better if we can potentially begin to go to that person ourselves and solve the conflict if at all possible. Now, sometimes that's not possible, and that's okay. Sometimes we do have to call in the boss. But more often than not, what I've seen in the workplace are bosses being called in to solve problems they really shouldn't have. You know, there's a wonderful coaching approach which is called resilient leadership. I'm certified in the methodology myself. But one of the areas that they talk about is that human beings naturally try and form triangles. And what do they mean by that? It means that when you are face to face in a relationship or a discussion with another person, that is inherently unstable. And when there is tension and conflict in that back and forth, what happens is they try and bring in another person to relieve some of that anxiety they feel, and they put the burden on that other person. That's exactly what's happening when you're calling a boss in to mediate. What you're really saying is, we can't stand the anxiety and the stress that we're feeling and this problem we're discussing, so we're going to bring in the boss and we're going to put all that on the boss to solve. If we can show the initiative to take upon ourselves to be able to solve this ourselves, we save the boss all that emotional energy. And for the boss as well, it's a really great practice not to be tempted into that, to resist, to really put it back on the 2 to resolve their own problems, because that's the way we grow as human beings. So there you have it, 4 ways that you can improve communication with your boss. Look for their communication style. Be a solution provider, not a problem provider. Show initiative and don't bring them in to mediate. If you try these 4 areas, I'm sure that you'll be able to improve that core relationship. Now, I talked at the beginning about a free e-course. If you click in the link before, it'll take you to this free e-course, which is called the Emotional Intelligence Roadmap. It's a roadmap to help you dig deeper into emotional intelligence and to assess a plan of development so that you can bring the power of your emotions into all your workplace relationships and relationships outside the workplace.